he's so consistent and he's so laid back. And but if he wins the claret jug, according to him, he'll have 2 or 3 minutes to celebrate, and then he'll focus on the FedEx Cup playoffs or something. I'm not sure what. That's the kind of laid back attitude that this guy has, and it's just so impressive. It's really perhaps one of the most impressive things I've seen, since Tiger's days when he was sort of dominating, and now I think he's kind of intimidating the rest of the field, to be honest.
Well, Bob, what did you make of his comments earlier in the week just on winning? Were you surprised?
Not really. I've had some good conversations with Scotty over the years, and I think I've seen him, and not only him, but a lot of other golfers, they kind of evolve. They evolve over time. They come up from college and all they want to do is play golf, and then they get married and they say, "Well, I've got someone else in my life," and then they have kids, and they realize, I think, during those transitions in their life that there is a lot more to golf, and golf is a little different than, say, Super Bowl or Stanley Cup. Like the Florida Panthers celebrated for 2 weeks after the Stanley Cup. But after the Masters, Rory's got a tournament starting Monday, so it's a little bit different. Not saying that it's anything unusual. I just think there's more people like Scotty out there in the sports world than let on, and he said that there's been lots of people come up and say, lots of golfers come up and say, I agree with you 100%. Mac Hughes was very vocal about that too. You can't let golf eat up your entire life. It's just not good. Now, maybe some guys celebrate for 10 minutes and he only celebrates for 2 or whatever, he's saying. But I really wasn't surprised, because that's kind of the guy Scotty is. He's got a young child at home. He's a man of faith. He's a very religious person, and he's got a lot of things that go on outside and after he steps off the golf course that I think seem to him to be either just as important or more important.
With Bob Weeks, 2 days into the Open Championship, Scotty Scheffler alone in the lead at 10 under. If we fast forward to Sunday night and he ends up closing this, he will be 3/4 through the career slam. He picked up a PGA earlier this year. He's won 2 Masters. This will be an Open. That'll leave the U.S. Open that he'd be chasing, which happens to be the worst major he plays in every year. Effectively, he's never really been in the hunt at any point. But if he closes this loop, he ends up winning the Open. Do you think it would be a lock at that point? At some point, the career slam's going to happen for Scheffler?
It would sure seem like it the way he plays right now. And, his record in this tournament, I know he's got a couple of top 10s, but they've kind of been backdoor top 10s in the 4 times he's played this one. So he didn't really have a great record here either. He's finished. I'm trying to think what year it was, maybe 21 or 22. I think he was tied for second at the U.S. Open. A bit of a backdoor again, but he's played well in all the majors. That's the thing about him. He plays well in every tournament. He's got a game that really, really kind of flows across different styles of golf, different setups. The U.S. Open is long, rough, and brutally penal, and the PGA is that third one. I mean, maybe he has to get arrested again to stop him from winning the U.S. Open. If he wins this one, that might be the only way to do it. I just don't see a lot of weaknesses in his game. I don't see a lot of bad days now that he's got his putter working. That's the only thing. If his putter's a little cold, which it can be hot or cold, that's the only part of his game that really has any kind of question marks beside it.
Bob, there's 3 other guys that are within a couple shots of him. Of those 3, which one do you think can push him the hardest?
I like Brian Harmon, and he is a magician around the green. He's got a great short game. This tournament, you don't have to be a bomber. He's not a bomber. I think he's averaging 285 off the tee. So I think he's a guy who could really, he's the guy who catches my eye, who can step it up. Matt Fitzpatrick has been playing well the last, I think, 3 or 4 tournaments. He's got a couple of top 10s. He's tied for 4th last week. He had the weirdest thing I've heard. He was having trouble hitting his irons, and he went to a new coach, Mark Blackburn, who's a very well-known tour coach. And he said, I think your arms are too long. And they measured his arms, and he's got sort of longer than normal arms. So they had to adjust his clubs and now he's hitting his irons perfectly. He said he couldn't find the face of his irons before, but they measured his arms. I've never heard anyone with arms that were too long. So that's an interesting one to me for sure.
Maybe that's my issue. I'd be on tour. I just need to get my arms, figured out. I like watching Harman. I was chatting with a buddy of mine today, and he said he loves watching him because he just finds it funny, with the, the waggles, and there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's not like it's 6 waggles and go. Sometimes it's 3 waggles, and then the next time it's 15. I find it painful. Like, as a guy that does waggle a little bit, but I'm not a pro, so no one's subjected to my garbage. I can't do it again, Bob. Like, a 2-time Open winner with those waggles, I can't do it again with Harman.
The only reason I want him to win is because he told me, I was at the Travelers Championship a few weeks ago, and I asked him about winning the claret jug, and I said, did you have a couple of sips out of it? And he says, the people from the R&A told me I brought it back in the worst condition it's ever brought it back in because we drank so much out of that thing. So that would be a good reason, just the celebration alone. That would be a little different than Scotty's.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe I got to give him another chance. I'll give Brian Harman another chance. With Bob Weeks, I saw you tweet out that Corey Connors, he made the cut right on the number, 1 over par. But it's been a pretty good run. Like, he's not going to win this week. He probably won't even be in contention. But he had the injury issue, obviously, at the U.S. Open, and appears to be back healthy. But a bit disappointing. Only one Canadian, and it's Corey, and he's right on the number.
Yeah, it was disappointing, and I was searching around to try and find, what's the record for, when was the last time we didn't have a Canadian make a cut in a major? You have to go back to the U.S. Open in 2018. So these guys have been on a good run. And this year, we've had some guys who played pretty well at T5 for Penrith at the PGA, and I think Corey was in the top 10 at the Masters. So it's been a pretty good run with these guys, but a little disappointing. Those first rounds really took the stuffing out of them, and they'll regroup. But the bigger one to watch right now is in the other tournament. Adam Hadwin is in danger of losing his playing privileges if he can't get into the top 125. I think he's 130 right now, so he's got to have a good weekend on the B tournament on the B circuit.
Bob, do you see a Rory surge coming this weekend?
I think he'll play well tomorrow. I'm not sure if he's got enough room to catch, or there's too much room maybe to catch Scotty. The thing about Rory is he's got to put the ball in the fairway a little bit more often and get some shots closer. Like his distance from the pin or from the green, when he's on the green, the distance from the pin is really not. He doesn't have a lot of good looks for birdies. He's sort of putting from 30 and 20 feet all the time. So put the ball in the fairway, gives you a little chance to get it a little bit closer. I don't think he's far off from a good round. He's talked after the round sort of being semi-satisfied with how he was playing, but he's got to get that ball in the hole a little bit more.